As a parent, you probably wouldn't hand your 11-year-old a bottle of tequila and a pack of smokes and say, Matt, go off into your room and enjoy yourself for the next couple hours. But that's what you're doing when you allow your kid to engross himself for hours at a time with these online games. It's every bit as harmful as we're going to find in the next couple of years with this litigation over these online gaming. The science is pretty black and white. In the same way that bottle of tequila and that pack of smokes creates real physical harm to your child, when you allow your kid to get sucked into these online worlds, and particularly the two-way communication online worlds, you are exposing your kid to very real harm. And it's not just the harm that's occurring with the online communication where the predation is occurring, but what science is telling us is that there's absolute harm that's done to the developing mind of a child when that child is engrossed into this online environment. And it's something that as parents we were kind of not aware of in exactly the same way that people weren't aware of the harm that was being done when people sat there and smoked cigarettes. And as we got into tobacco litigation, it was determined that the science behind it was very manipulative. The manufacturers were throwing all kinds of chemicals in there to keep people sucked in more, get them more and more engaged and more addicted to it. Well, that's exactly what is occurring in these online cases, and this is exactly what the online litigation all across this country is disturbing. I want to talk about this, and I'm going to drop some links in here. There are two kinds of litigation out there. The attorneys general are filing lawsuits all across the country targeting the manufacturers and telling them, how dare you engineer products that harm children, harm the brains of children. There's another category of litigation out there, and that is private parties. So private individuals are suing the manufacturers, and they're getting the actual industry reports. They've got insiders, whistleblowers, and they've got real examples of harm. And again, when you read these lawsuits, and I encourage you to read the lawsuits because the detail is black and white. It's astonishing where the insiders, the manufacturer of these games, are absolutely acknowledging that they are engineered in such a way as to get kids engaged and keep them engaged, addict them to this product that's unhealthy. The other part of it is the science. So the medicine is black and white. You know, you got psychiatrists, psychologists, you got labs all across the country, all across the world, and they're looking at what's actually happening to these kids' brains as they're involved. And so as you watch one of these kids that's locked in on these games, I want you to think about what's happening behind the scenes, behind the curtain, if you will, in that kid's brain. That's the real harm that's being done here. I want you to engage in what I call the sit and watch test. When your kid's sitting there locked onto that screen, I want you to sit right with them, and I want you to do exactly what that kid's doing, and that is focus with your brain on those images. Focus on the flashing. Focus on the noise. If the kid's got online headphones and they're fully immersed in this thing, I want you to put those headphones on, and I want you to subject yourself to the very same harm that you are subjecting your child to as your child is sucked into that environment. That's the sit and watch test. We're even talking here about the predatory environment that exists, and that's the other sort of column in this litigation. What is described in all these cases, particularly the ones where there have been child predation examples or real harm done, is that the online communication world starts, and maybe it's harmless, but according to some estimates, more than 40% of the people that are on there communicating with your kid in these headphones are over 17 years old. And what happens in this predation environment is the kid starts in Roblox or he starts in Minecraft, and then somebody says, hey, Jimmy, come over here. And next thing you know, Jimmy's over communicating on Snapchat or Discord or one of these other communication platforms and engaging in two-way communication. You have no idea who this person is, and that's where some of the real harm is occurring, obviously the real physical harm. So here's the deal. Watch this. Pay attention to it. If you're a mom, make dad sit down and watch this too. If you're grandparents and you're watching your kids that are doing with the grandkids, make them sit down and watch this thing too. Source this material. In this description, I drop in links to the Attorney General websites and the Attorney General lawsuits. And I also include, importantly, the lawsuits themselves, these examples of harm, real world examples of harm. If you choose to allow your kid or your grandkid to continue hours in these games, you've been warned. You understand what's happening. But I have great faith that parents will watch this. They'll understand the harm. They'll remove it. If your kid has been harmed by these environments, drop a link in there. Drop a comment. There are real examples of resources that your kid can get access to right now, kind of deprogramming, and that's an essential part of this. So if you're compelled by this, and again, you got a kid that's had harm done, drop a link in here, and we'll give you additional information and resources that can get you some help.